Hello class, my name is Carlos Alvarado. This week is for MPA 510 week 6 and it's going to be on how to run a government agency more like a private sector. Quick overview, we're going to talk about examples of theories to support running a government agency like the private sector. We're also going to look at some references that I'm going to use and the closing. Some of the examples of the theories to support running the government like the private sector. The main one I'm going to be using is Graham Allison. He's going to be talking about public and public management and are they fundamentally alike. Um, and he states that they're alike in the unimportant respects. And the one thing he says that they are alike is in PosCorp. So he has Gulick in there. So I'll be using Gulick in my paper as well to show some support of why they're identical. But then he goes on to tell some of the difference. Some of the differences are how the private sector is more efficient. So they're striving for profit. That is the main thing that the public sector is. They run on trying to get money. And in the public sector, um, they're more for compassion and equality for everybody to equally. And so those are some of the things that Allison uses. I will also be using Paul Appleby, and he has some parts. He talks about government has a big difference in organizational discipline compared to the private sector. Compared to the public sector. So Paul Appleby will be another theory that I'll be using. I will also be using Taylor. He's talking about the scientific management on how efficiency. So if you're talking about efficiency, Taylor needs to be involved. Also, I will be using Luther Gulick's theories. Um, he's talking about the division of work, and he also talks about PosCorp. So that will go along in my paper as well and help support on how to run the business, the government agency as a public sector, as a public. Also be using some Merton. So because Merton he talks about how the clients in the private sector they feel like their needs are not wanted because there's not based on individual needs. It's more of the overall of everyone else, and so that would be used in there to support. And I will also be using Max Weber. Max Weber talks about the bureaucracy, and he's talking about how in the public sector it's more of a career oriented, and in the public sector it's um, kind of a it's not career oriented, so you can get fired if you make mistakes, and in more the private sector, um, in the public sector, you can there's it's a lot harder to get laid off compared to the private sector. So I will be using Max Weber as well to help support in some of the theories that he uses to help support with on some theories to support running the government like the private sector. And I will also be using a lot of other theories that we have used throughout the class along to support, but these will be the main ones I'll be using. These are some of the references going to use for my final paper. These are the main ones I will be using, and then I will be adding others as I need to use for support. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Just remember, this is the end of week 6. We got only 2 weeks good to go. We can do it.